Well, good day, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are taking a look at Wolfenstein: The New Order. Hard to believe this game's been out for 10 bloody years. It seems like just yesterday that game had been released. It's also kind of amazing to think that this is a legitimate sequel to Wolfenstein 2009. It's not a remake, it's not a reboot, it's just the game. Let's see, we already got a message here, and how was my day today? Well, it was a day, and it was all day. And it was an alright day, I suppose, just more of the same. So with that, let's jump on in to the game, shall we? And I'm actually just going to restart the whole thing. I'm actually playing through it right now, trying to get all of the footage for the eventual re-review. The 10-year anniversary review. So this game still looks pretty good. I don't think this plane would actually function quite like this, but whatever. Alright, so this is a 6-engine transport plane, which never existed. So the first thing you gotta recognize is this game is not a historically accurate game. What this is, ladies and gentlemen, is a diesel punk game that has some historical elements, but is not actually historical in any way. I mean, yeah, a 6-engine transport plane, yeah, I just don't think that's going to really be aerodynamically stable. I mean, if that's what I'm complaining about already. And I love how that door is automatic, and there's no crew on this plane. But you kind of just gotta let it go. Smashy, smashy. So yeah, 2014. Graphics really have not aged that much, have they? I mean, like, this game looks better than some games today. Especially since a lot of modern developers just aren't exactly what one would call talented. And hello, Ethan Gordon. And I didn't get any weird messages, so that's good. Ugh, Discord seems to be fairly easy to hack, which is kind of annoying. And I actually had a Discord server get hacked a number of years ago. I jumped in the shower, and when I got out, I had like 5 people going like, General, you might want to check your Discord. It's like, what the fuck could have happened in the 5 minutes it took me to take a shower? So yeah, these planes aren't exactly operating realistically. I mean, why would Horton flying wings be, you know, intercept fighters, and why would they be flying like that? But whatever. It's diesel punk, it's supposed to be fun. And so this is supposed to take place in 1946, and it's supposed to be implied that, like, the Allies are doing really bad, but I don't really know how that would happen. Because, like, okay, wait, did Death's Head just pull oil out of his ass? And rubber? And ball bearings? And then what about the Manhattan Project? And, like, how would they able... yeah, it just... You gotta just say diesel punk. And there's supposed to be a point of divergence where D-Day failed. But then, you know, I don't know. If there... Ooh, I think I actually blew up a P-51. If there actually was something going this bad, we'd probably have some P-80 shooting stars flying around. It's just one of those things. Oh crap, I'm like really hurt. Now, I don't think you can actually destroy that plane. You just get knocked right out of there. Drop the link to rejoin. Will do. You got writing this good, and then you go to Wolfenstein Youngblood by 2009. So in 2014, the idea that you'd be using med packs again, that was a big deal. I mean, this, to me, this is a much better modern-day incarnation of a game than Doom 2016 ever was. Doom 2016 is kind of lame compared to this. And I don't really mind this, you know, cutscene fest right here, because it doesn't go on that long. And most importantly, it actually does set up the game pretty well. This was kind of a complaint when this game first came out, but how little we knew in 2014. Even if it wasn't damaged, it would handle like that. Okay, this is really buggy right here. In fact, when I first started recording this game for the re-review, I bugged through this plane's fuselage and fell right into the ocean. The game just fucking crashed. It just gave up. This is a kind of a sloppily programmed game, especially in these early bits here. We're actually going to get to another piece of sloppy programming in just a minute. Alright, I'll read the chat in just a second. We got to get over here first. I'm not sure why that Mustang is flying that close, but whatever. It's cool. That way this can happen. That's why it wouldn't fly that close in real life, but whatever. Okay, right here is where... And sprint. And right here is where I fell through the ground. I was like, okay, they pulled me into the plane, right? I actually recorded this. I'm going to mention this in the review. Now that's pretty neat. This is a pretty impressive game right here. Because at first I was like, why are these guys so much taller than me? I was actually falling through the floor. Thankfully that didn't happen this time. Dude, I am totally not gonna save you. I mean, I'll totally save this guy. The Fergus timeline is the best timeline. I think Fergus just teleported to that chair. Yeah, smack him around for being stupid. How would they lose Europe when the Germans don't have the men or the food or, well, anyway, we're gonna ignore that. Also, if things were that bad, why are they launching an airborne invasion? Where's the entire, you know, American Navy with like 13 aircraft carriers and, yeah. Oh dear. Okay, let's see. What happened to Japan in the Wolfenstein universe? Taken over by Germany. You find a little newspaper clipping of that later in this game. Not sure how they had enough Germans for that, but whatever. Diesel Punk! Just say Diesel Punk. And hello, Emperor Snake. I don't know why Doom 3 is popular to hate on.
July 16, 1946. Everything has gone to shit. Nazi war machine is advancing at an astonishing rate. We can't catch up. Tactics are failing. Outclassed and outgunned. No one knows why. People are getting desperate. Not me. I'm here to see an old friend and settle a score. Turn this thing around.
I just get the feeling that robot dogs would not exactly be that useful by this point in the war. I don't really think that, like, that thing in real life would totally get obliterated by artillery like 10 miles out, so. But whatever. Once again, we just kind of got to ignore that.
Fergus, what's your status?
We've got the skitters and bad ways over here. Trapped inside an aircraft with some kind of armored hell beast is trying to fucking eat us. No joke.
Same problem here. Shacked up inside dead wreckage.
Is that you over there? Hey, Private Wyatt, flash your lights. Blasco, can you see the light? Wait, turn off the light, turn it off. Yes, sir.
Now, how exactly did they get into separate planes? Oh, yeah, they fell in the water. Okay. I know I just saw that, but it's like, wait a minute. How did they? Oh, okay. So why don't we use, like, a bazooka? Or an anti-tank rifle? That armor can't be that good to... Why a robot dog? Once again, in a Diesel Punk universe, it's kick-ass. In, like, any sort of reality, that's just... Why a robot dog? Smashy, smashy. Okay, what'd that say? Yeah, Doom 3. I don't know why people hate on that game. Because, like, for me, I grew up with the original Doom, and I grew up with Doom 3. And at no time did I ever think that Doom 3 was a bad game. In fact, it's my favorite of all the Doom games. And so when I do my 20th anniversary video on that, I'm going to be talking about, like, the whole Doom 3 is bad controversy, which I did not know that was a thing back in 2004. I did not know that. Like, I never knew that I was supposed to hate that game. In fact, I didn't know people hated it until, like, 2010 or so. I did not know I was supposed to dislike one of my favorite games of all time. So what's kind of interesting is Death's Head here is like the big villain of this game, and he was the big villain of Wolfenstein 2009, but you know, back in Wolfenstein Return to Castle Wolfenstein, he just was kind of a guy. You know, he didn't really have that much focus, and he escaped in like a rocket plane. But that was really it. He was never had that much importance put on him then. And now he's like the big guy. Now what's kind of funny in a bad way is TV tropes. TV tropes, I think, has gone a bit, shall we say, woke, because the guy who plays Death's Head in this game is Dwight Schultz, who played Howling Mad Murdoch in the A-Team in the 80s, and he also played Reginald Barkley in TNG. Well, evidently, he voted for somebody that TV tropes didn't like, because they tried to compare him to his character in this game, because of course they did.
Listen up. There's a high-powered machine gun nest in those trenches over there. We cannot advance the unit without being slaughtered. So, I want you to make your way over into those trenches and take the nest out. Just run as fast as you possibly bloody can, straight up the middle. We'll lay down cover fire from here. Got it. Put this on. I'll radio updates.
The magical radio. I mean, that right there is a much more... That little radio headset, the fact that it works as good as it does, that makes the Allies already way more advanced than the Germans here. You could have 1,000 robot dogs, but if you can't talk to them, it doesn't really make much of a difference, now does it? Alright, I'll check the chat in just a second. Let me get down here. There we go. Okay, we're about to get to a part of the game that's kind of sloppily programmed. I'm not really sure what they were thinking here. This must have been some kind of leftover thing. I also feel bad for the Allies right now. This Thompson-ish gun looks like it's in .30 carbine, which means somehow that 30 caliber Thompson got made. I don't know how. No wonder the Allies lost. It's like all the bad ideas were done, I guess. Also, why do the Germans have ammo for this gun? Alright, so this right here is the only time you do this, and it doesn't work. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Damn. Yeah, this is where you have to, like, lean under this, and I don't remember what the controls are. And even when they explain to you what these controls are, you're supposed to shoot under the door, right? And this is literally within the first few seconds of the game. I'm mentioning this in the review. And, like, it's a specific set of controls that you kind of have to know, and even then it doesn't work if you know it, and you never have to do this again. I have not actually played System Shock. I have it. See, like, you hit Alt. There we go. See, and you gotta, like, do that. And you shoot him in the foot. And this is the only time you do that. I have no idea why they thought this was a good idea. This has to be a leftover idea from something. And I'm using a controller. I actually had to just swap to the keyboard and mouse for that. Because these days I always use a controller because my hands be tired from working all day. Okay, where was I? Doom 3. Oh yeah, Wretched. I've heard of that. I haven't had a chance to get around to playing that game yet, though. There's too many games, too little time. But yeah, people talking about how Doom 3 apparently is not a real Doom game. I don't know where they get this idea. I do not have a clue, because it's a Doom game. It's the same kind of gameplay as Doom 1, just modernized, really. Even down to the monster closets. So it's like, how is that not Doom? I don't know where they get this idea, and I'm gonna explore that, because I consider myself like a real Doom fan, because I was there when Doom 1 came out, played Doom 2, Final Doom, and I got Doom 3 when it came out. So I was as much of a Doom fan as anyone could possibly be, and I'm like, I never saw it as some kind of weird derivation. It's the same thing with Wolfenstein New Order here. This is a Wolfenstein game. This is exactly a modern-day evolution of what Wolfenstein 2009 was. They didn't turn it into, you know, like a cutscene fest, or you don't have regenerative health. This is more Wolfenstein than Doom 2016 ever could be. Simple as that. Because Doom 2016, I know people love it, but it is not Doom. Like it is much more of a beat 'em up almost, since you have to do those glory kills. Yeah, the 30 caliber Thompson. Ian McCullum of the Clan McCullum has a video on that. I think it's supposed to weigh like 15 pounds and was almost immediately rejected. Okay, let me go up there. Fan of System Shock. I've not played System Shock, but I played a little bit of the remake, but not much of it. I've even played a little bit of System Shock 2, but not much of it either. Just never really got around to it. I'm actually going to be doing a review of BioShock next month. One day I'll get around to playing System Shock, but that day is not today. The Soul Cube ruined the Cyber Demon fight, and yes, that is true. That is kind of a lame boss fight. You throw the Soul Cube at the Cyber Demon 3 times and win. But that wasn't the only game from that time period that had kind of lame boss fights. And, you know, I guess, like, they wanted the Cyber Demon to be, like, an otherworldly creature to the point where, like, you couldn't defeat it with just a shotgun blast to the face. I think they kind of overthought that. And yeah, Return to Castle Wolfenstein is pretty much my favorite. But Wolfenstein New Order, yeah, I mean, when you go from like Wolfenstein 3D to Return to Castle to Wolfenstein 2009 to this game, they all fit. They all are of good quality, even if Wolfenstein 2009 is my favorite. No, Return to Castle is my favorite. Wolfenstein 2009 is second favorite, and this is the third. Wolfenstein 3D is just kind of boring, kind of hard to go back to that and actually play it all the way through. And where the Soul Cube has to target certain body parts, so that'd be pretty cool. I'm surprised there's not a mod that does that. But if you want a Diesel Punk Japan, there does exist a game, not a game, but a book like that. Written by Larry Correa. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is now. What was that? What was the name of that series? I think it was like, it was some kind of magic thing. It was going to be a TV show, but it got canned, unfortunately. Or maybe fortunately, because they might have wokeified it. But yeah, there's a Larry Correa thing where like there's this cyberpunk, no, not cyberpunk, but Diesel Punk Japan, where they've got robots, powered armor, but America has like basically mutants from the X-Men to counter them. There's this really kick-ass fight in that book. Damn, I wish I could remember what no, I don't wish. Never waste a wish on that. I would like to remember what the name of that book is called, because there's this kick-ass fight on a Japanese battle zeppelin where the main character has to fight his evil brother. It's like straight out of Star Wars. And I basically call it like 1930s Star Wars. Okay, we'll try to be a little stealthy. We're gonna do the whole Chronicles of Riddick thing here by doing the stabby. Now, I've never actually played the Chronicles of Riddick game. I just know that that's what we're supposed to do in that game. Yeah, I really like Larry Correa's work. I even got to meet him back in 2019. He went to the local half-price books that sadly has been closed due to the Rona. Now, this game does have a little bit of an emphasis on stealth, because like it makes it a bit easier and a bit more manageable if you just stab people in the neck. And definitely if there's like those officers standing around, you do want to stab them in the neck. Now, like these Tesla backpacks, I'm not sure what these are supposed to be. Like energy shields. This slow knife pierces the shield. Alright, so what we gotta do is we gotta grab us a sack of dynamite. We like sacks of dynamite around here. Really, the fact that the weapon wheel is tied to the right bumper, and the right bumper is also a grenade, is kind of a bad idea. Diesel Punk, Japan. Wolfenstein 3D is hard in places, though. Pretty game, had a great presentation. There's a bit on the shenanigan side. I wouldn't be surprised. It's a game from the early 2000s. And some of those games can have be a little bit overly difficult. Okay, so where is that officer? We're just going to avoid those foot soldiers, and we're gonna find that guy, and we're gonna stab him in the neck. You don't need no neck anymore. Okay, so we're just going to open fire! I like how when we get to the 1960s, it turns into like this plasma rifle. So the explanation for all this diesel punk technology is kind of silly. Actually, it'd be kind of controversial today. Basically, it's weird underwater Jewish people. I'm not even exaggerating. That really is the reason why the Germans have all this technology. They basically found these underwater Jewish people that had better technology than anyone else. I mean, that's certainly a reason. That's very much a diesel punk reason, but I'm not really sure that was the best reasoning for that, but okay, we'll just go with it. That is actually legitimately the reason. I'm not making that up. Yeah, pretty much. I'm not really sure that was the best idea there, because that is kind of silly. Like, how would a society that has a very small population somehow get technology that is better than anything on the surface world? When you consider how hard it was just to make a goddamn phone. When you ever think about how complex a phone is, like, we take it for granted today, but just like a basic, like, 1920s phone, you're basically sending audio through an electrical line, and somehow something can pick it up and render that electrical signal into intelligible speech. Like, that's a pretty big deal. I think we take a lot of our technology for granted. Like, what we got here is data files here, fucking binary, that's being rendered into an image that we can see and interact with. It's a technology that we have today. Yeah, we don't have faster than light drives, but we got some pretty good stuff. Oh, there he is. I see him. So what we're gonna do is I think we're just gonna shoot him. Or do we want to stab him? I don't know. I'm trying to decide. Do we have like the No, we don't have that yet. Okay. Alright. Yeah, screw it. Shoot him before he can call! No, he already called. Okay, now dual wielding rifles here. That looks cool, but you probably just want to aim and hit what you're aiming at. Germany won the Second World War, but there really isn't good logic. There's a couple stories I've read where like they were able to win the Battle of Moscow somehow. Once again, I guess they pulled the oil out of their ass. And I got shot in the face. Damn you, chat. I don't think I have a silencer yet in the game. Because I think you get that in like 1960. Dentists who tried to use electricity to numb the gums and somehow noise transmitted. I did not know that. Now, the loading times on this game aren't bad, but once again, this is not the most well-programmed game. Alright, let's see if I do have the silencer. It's technically a suppressor. No, that's not it. No, that's the map. Oh, I do have the silencer. The suppressor. Is it silencer co? Silencer co's are expensive. Okay, I forgot I even had this. There's a giant can on that thing. It's both arms and leg printing. Yeah, 3D printing has come a long way. Okay, we'll wait for that officer to walk down here. And then we shall shoot him in the neck. Okay, that failed. I should have waited for him to walk down, but whatever, doesn't matter. We've got our 30 caliber Thompson. I've got the blish lock. Okay, we're gonna sneak over here. And we're just gonna shoot him in the dick. When in doubt, just shoot him in the— oh, crap. This is why you want to, like, be stealthy. Because it can— this would be a really easy fight if I had actually shot him before he could get a call out. Sadly, like Return to Castle, you don't get much ammo for your American guns. You're just going to be using the STG. Now, when I'm not streaming, this game actually gets pretty good frame rates, but man, it's really choppy when I'm streaming this. This game has always been pretty buggy. I couldn't even run the game until I got an NVIDIA graphics card. When I tried to run this on a RX 480 a number of years ago, it would just crash all the time. Like, it was literally unplayable. Especially when I got to the moon level. I'd like look at one of the chains and it would just crash. Park 3 showed more advanced 3D printing. The Jurassic Park universe is, I kind of lumped that in with like urban fantasy, because being able to print DNA is, yeah, pretty advanced. What do you only have? The Thompson is a neat submachine gun. It's really heavy, really diesel punk in and of itself. But ultimately, in any sort of real-world practical environment, it's kind of worthless. Like, if I had to, for whatever reason, fight with World War II weapons, I would pick the M1 carbine every day of the week. One of the other neat things about this game is you can actually find text logs and text documents, which by 2014 was very, very rare. Now remember, this was a AAA game. This was a big deal back in 2014. This wasn't just an indie game made by like 3 people on a budget of $1. And see, that's another reason why Doom 2016 just wasn't as good. Like, look how many characters we have. In Doom 2016, you have Doomslayer and Dr. Samuel Hayden and Olivia Pierce. That's it. That's 3 people. This, we got all kinds of people. We got all kinds of advanced plotting instead of just kind of generic. A Cannone. An 88mm. Alright, let's blast this guy, then let's blow that robot. Not literally. I am not a robosexual. Although, I don't know. Lol from TNG, she was kind of hot, just saying. Yeah, MP40 is pretty kick-ass, but for me, I much prefer the M1 carbine. It's got the muzzle velocity of a 357 no, it's got the same velocity as a at 100 yards as a 357 Magnum does at the muzzle. So Lego minifigure, his arm and leg printing. Oh, not bad. I guess I never really paid attention to the printing on my Lego Boba Fett. I need to look at that after the stream. You can find the little papers and things of that nature. It's like they actually put in effort. It's like, what happened? What happened in the time between 2014 and 2019? But when it comes to like World War II guns, it's amazing just how good that STG-44 really was. I'm actually tempted to buy that PSA one when it finally gets released. In 223, of course, because I can't imagine how much 8 Kurtz is going to be by that point. Considering how expensive every goddamn thing is. Except for Sam's Pizzas. Those things are still cheap. And I have no idea why messages keep getting redacted. I guess YouTube is not pleased with people these days. It's actually always kind of interesting to hear certain creators really praise YouTube for the concept of the platform. Which, I guess if you're not trying to make guns or make gun content or anything really controversial, I guess it is good for that. But, like, censorship of any form is bad. I'm just playing this on normal difficulty. Because when you're trying to pay attention to the chat, and play the game at the same time. It's not easy. Because you're like dividing your attention between a bunch of different things and coming up with stuff to say. And speaking of dividing my attention, hopefully later this year I can get a stream of Jurassic Park Part 2, The Chaos Continues. I really want to do that, but I do need a co-op partner, but it is definitely something I'm thinking of. Because I really want to talk about that game some more. It's Jurassic Park Part 2, The Chaos Continues is a really underrated gem, even though it is really, really difficult, and the only way you'd ever beat that game is if you use save states. Like, that is definitely a save state game. If you do not use those, you will get nowhere in that goddamn game. I tried to play that game legit once, and I do have the legitimate cartridge, but it is so hard. Oh, typos. Okay. Story for my channel. It's a short story about a home invasion. Nice. Jurassic Park Trespasser. You know, I haven't had an idea of doing a video on that at some point, but the only problem with doing a video on that is just how difficult it is to get that game working, and I'm not really sure what I could say about that. Okay, let's chuck a grenade. Because it's one of those games that is legitimately terrible. Have I shot any EMP? I have not shot any full autos, unfortunately. Just never had the opportunity. It's one of those things where, basically, we need to repeal the NFA. I think if that got repealed, Ruger would release within a year a full auto package for, like, the PC carbine. But until then, it's only a pipe dream. Stabby, stabby! And we move the old, 80mm and blow the crap out of those bastards. Of course, realistically, the blast from that would basically kill BJ with the overpressure alone, but whatever. I'm the godforsaken. I love Fergus. He's like the greatest. He's one of the great characters from this game, like possibly the greatest. And I'm glad that BJ finally got some legitimate characterization. I really like where they went with this character. They made him much more introspective. Uh-oh, it's a giant robot dog! It seems like a really big liability. I think he's got some red on his shirt, though, so I don't think he's gonna last.
General Death's Head. He's nearer to us now than he's been in years. Some nasty wounds you've got there, Private. Be sure to mind that bleed. We eliminate the General, we cut the head off the crowd war machine. They're gonna have us for breakfast.
Fergus, I'm not really sure what to talk about, because I don't think that would actually work. There's like 100 generals we'd have to go through after him.
It's just nerves. Let me teach you a trick. Inhale. Count to 4. Exhale. Count to 4. All there is to it.
We're having our ass tanned by some Nazi mutant fucking Frankenstein. So we ready then, lads?
This time, we get the job done.
Now let's go. Let's move it on.
So I guess in this universe, Steiner actually made it then.
Are you lazy or we roasted? This is a war, not a fucking Sunday church war. Come on.
A good team. Like father and son.
It's one of the few games that actually managed to make me bawl my eyes out at a few segments. I mean, you got the game where you're like just blowing the crap out of the Germans, and then you go to a cutscene and it's like, you've got some of the best writing imaginable. Back in 2014, I got taken away by this game to the point where I was like, this is the greatest first-person shooter ever made. And I don't think it's quite that good, but this is really one of the best of the best. Like, I'm talking like of any era.
Find Death's Head and we shoot him in the head.
Yeah, that's a 30 caliber Thompson submachine gun. That thing's got to weigh 14 goddamn pounds.
This may be our last chance. If we don't get Death's Head now, it's all over.
Now, I always love this segment here because it is really impressive. And this is not just a cutscene or a QTE sort of thing. You legitimately have to shoot the bastards. I got your Tesla backpack right here. What? I like how BJ is a captain now. It's like, he basically is just Captain America at this point. Yeah, Wolfenstein, the new Colossus, the writing was certainly far, far worse. It was like half woke by that point, unfortunately. And that was only like a time differential of like 5 years. Yeah, COD wished it had writing this good.
I'm sorry, sirs. I didn't see him coming. That's up to you now, Blazkowicz. Get to the control room and open the gate.
Another kid you
Best Wonder 9.
Captain. One of us is gonna die today.
So the best Wonder 9. Now we got like this extremely dramatic scene. It's like, so what about the best Wonder 9? I think the best of the Wonder 9s would probably have to be the Beretta 92. Just because it's an extremely durable pistol. It's pretty accurate, easy to tear apart. Now my personal favorite of the Wonder 9s is still the Browning High Power. That was like the first. Just because it has really good ergonomics and it's extremely accurate. Let's see. What Doom 2016 should have been if they didn't basically want to be a Primarch. Yeah, exactly. Basically thought it in bed one night, actually recorded it. Not bad, not bad. I'll have to take a look at that. Oh, it wasn't 5 years, only 3 years? Damn. Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh man, I blame you, chat. That's how they spotted me. Oh, this is gonna suck. This is where it gets hard, because they're just going to keep calling in reinforcements. And that's the classic Return to Castle Wolfenstein alarm sound. So that's the thing. I think Doomslayer should have talked a lot more and should have had a voice actor like this. When he finally did talk in Doom Eternal, it was just, you know, the generic, you know, comic book line of rip and tear huge guts. I mean, imagine if he actually had dialogue like BJ has, you know, talking about how he had to leave his own universe and leave some of its humanity behind. It'd been awesome, but instead it's just guts, huge guts. I'm actually doing a top 13 first-person shooters of the 2000s. This game actually comes in number 1, and Doom 2016, despite my problems with it, still comes in at number, well, 13. The lowest number I could possibly give it, because it's still a pretty alright game, and it definitely was a breath of fresh air when it was released. Yeah, Doom 2016 is better than Eternal because when you beat the crap out of the enemies, you actually beat out some ammo. Whereas you don't do that in Eternal, which means you're constantly chainsawing enemies, which gets really, really old really, really fast. I'm going to mention that in a review at some point in the future. Although I'm not sure when. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. I've played Red Dead Redemption 1 all the way through, and I'm going to review that next year, but I've not gotten around to that, to its sequel, just because that's a really big game, and I ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to bleed. Now, I am playing a game in my own time called Splinter Cell: The Blacklist. Now, I never played any Splinter Cell games before, but Triple X Medic actually recommended that game to me, so I just decided to give it a try. It's pretty good. It's not all stealth. you can actually get spotted and not immediately lose. To basically upgraded P38. I mean, it kind of is. It uses the same locking mechanism. But it's not really the same thing as a P38. Like, the metallurgy that goes into a Beretta 92 is far superior. Not to say that the P38 is bad or anything, but like the Beretta 92 is just one of those things, like, it can go for tens of thousands of rounds. And so it's a beast. Chainsaw in 2016. And yeah, it was one of those things that you used sparingly. Not every 5 goddamn minutes. It's one of those things when it comes to pistols, though. Pistols aren't quite as important as, like, rifle quality. And shoot him in the face. He has no head. That man has no dick. Well, at least he's not gonna have no dick in a minute. But, like, pistols, you know, they're all pretty much gonna be kind of interchangeable. Almost. Almost. Because, you know, they're really short range kind of weapons. For me, though, the Browning High Power just has that really, really, really good ergonomics. I can shoot that the best. Stab him! Stab him! Cut him up! We're gonna rip and tear. Operation Algin Blute. I'm trying to read your map, you bastard. So they're trying to invade, I guess. I'm trying to read the map here. I'm not exactly sure what they're invading here, but I'm not entirely sure they would have the numbers to do whatever it is they're doing there. Because by that point, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel. I mean, are they going to send 6-year-old men into combat? They better have some really good cybernetics for that. Not to say that 6-year-old men can't fight, but, yeah. But, yeah. Well, think about this. They're robot dogs. You know, you're kind of putting them out of their misery, because I think that armor is, like, drilled directly into their flesh, so there's that. Armor Doom 2016. Why would you have a less protective suit of armor, exactly? In about the early 2000s. Force Stealth. Oh, yeah, Force Stealth. I am not a big fan of Force Stealth. Even one of my favorite games, Jedi Knight 2, had that annoying forced stealth segment where, like, the second you're spotted, apparently you get overwhelmed and are immediately captured and tortured by the imps. And it's like, I don't think that would really happen. It's like Kyle was, like, just utterly annihilating every bloody stormtrooper he comes across. Those 3 guys are gonna somehow take him down. Go fuck it thyself. And thankfully, this is not an enforced turret section, but it does help. And blast him. Oh, they're trying to invade. Uh-oh, Operation Sea Lion. I don't think the Germans would have enough sea lift capacity for that, but whatever. I mean, they didn't even think they needed to have fighters on their aircraft carrier, and the Japanese had to tell them, like, you know, you might want to have some escort craft for the dive bombers. You know, you might want to have something to protect them, but whatever. Maybe. Maybe. I think if the Graf Zeppelin had actually been made, what would probably have happened is it would have gone straight to the bottom, because it wasn't really a well-designed aircraft carrier.
We're trapped up here, Blazkowicz. See if you can remove this beam from your possession.
Sir, maybe you can use this to pry it loose.
MPs are pretty good. I got a Glock 17, and, you know, it's a perfectly fine pistol. But it doesn't have the same soul, man, as, like, the Browning High Power.
Church every Sunday?
Yeah, what, you ain't got churches in England? You ain't got no priests there?
Yeah. Well, the Nazis sort of bombing them at the moment, so it's a bit of a problem.
Oh, boo-hoo. But yeah, the pistol I shoot the best by far is the Ruger Standard Mark IV. I got a red dot on that, and you just put the dot on the target, and you'll hit the 10 ring every time with no difficulty at all, at like 25 yards. And if you're using metric, that's like 20 meters or something. I don't know what the conversion is. And one of the people I talk to the most does use the metric system. Where one character uses the flamethrower to start a charcoal grill. Okay, you know what? You say that like that's a stupid part, but you know that there are people who start a grill with a flamethrower. You know Bubba has started a grill with a flamethrower. You know I might start a grill with a flamethrower. Now this is a legitimately creepy part. Like, this is creepier than all of Doom 2016. This is like something out of Doom 3. Like, that is legitimately disgusting. And it's not, and this is the thing, the game lets you look at it. It doesn't just like slow down and start playing some crappy music. Wyatt, you're an idiot. Why do we assume he knows what he's doing? I think it should be right there. Well, get it, BJ. Don't just look at it. Why would they leave the key in there? Come on, get in there. Oh yeah, we should probably save that guy. I mean, sadly, he's not really gonna make it, go, go, go. He's not really gonna make it once we get past this part, but whatever. Yeah, Fergus got a bit crispy there. Give me all that sweet, sweet health. And once again, this is also pretty creepy. But they don't waste your time by like zooming in on it. That's the main thing. Like, that's one of the things I really don't like about modern day TV and movies, is they always have to zoom in on all that gross shit. Whereas back in the day, it was just sort of understated. Like, here, it happens, and you can see it, but they don't, like, just lovingly pan across that. That's why I'm afraid Aliens Romulus is going to be bad. I just don't think people are... these directors today are going to be able to be mature enough to make an Aliens movie. Because they're just going to zoom in on all the blood and gore. I mean, they already did that with AVPR. Whereas with Alien 1, the reason it was so scary is because you didn't see people getting gutted. Life of Boba Fett. Uh-oh. It's Dwight Schultz. I really love what Fergus is doing here. Is like, the actor does a really good job with these lines, but these lines are great. Don't think that would knock him out, but whatever.
My people murdered so many times. I lost count.
So long since I practiced my English. It's a dying tongue. You? I've seen you before. Oh, I like you. Such a resilient specimen.
Not this one. Somebody broke it already. It's a shame.
Now, Death's Head in Return to Castle Wolfenstein and Wolfenstein 2009 was not like this at all. But this is definitely influenced by Voss from Far Cry 3. Like, this is... They wanted to make him more like Voss, and I think it works. They might not have necessarily needed to use the name Death's Head, but whatever. Because the character in the previous two games was not like this. But it's fine. You just kind of got to let it go.
Should you decline my opinion, I shall have to put the scalpel on both of them and we'd be here all day. Make matters simple. All you need to do is look to the one you would have me dissect.
Now this is pretty intense, but sorry Wyatt, Fergus is way better in every way.
An astute selection. Young, unspoiled, fresh liver samples, fatty tissues intact.
You will save me, won't you, sir?
Well, if by save, I mean, put you out of your misery later in the game.
General Death's Head. Today he's teaching me a lesson. I've seen suffering and death. People maimed and tortured. Thought I'd seen it all. But I'd never seen true cruelty. Until now. Count to 4. Inhale. Count to 4. Exhale.
Now, like these Space Marine kind of like these Space Marine diesel punk guys are cool enough, but like they still really wouldn't be that useful in the face of superior logistics. I mean, like how many of those guys does Death's Head even have? And I mean, they're also kind of vulnerable to a crowbar to the back. Back him.
We have to put the nozzles for the incinerator out of action. Use your pipe. And help me.
Let's see, and equivalents to Death's Head in the Galactic Empire. I would say Lord Shadow Spawn from the book Luke Skywalker and the Shadows of Mindor. Because he kind of does something similar.
I'll go see about broken feet. You get the damn window open. How wide are the metal controls stand next to the window?
Does BJ know how to do that? Yep. Also, BJ's arms got really skinny all of a sudden. I guess he skipped arm day. Let's see. I'd say the Browning High Power is more influential, even if it's less popular. Because, yeah, the 1911 had the Browning linked action, whereas the High Power has the linkless action. And also, let's not forget the double stack magazine. You know, that was a big deal too. That was one of the first pistols to have that, which pretty much all modern pistols have. And, oh man, if only I could remember the name of that Larry Correa book I mentioned earlier, his diesel punk thing, because John Moses Browning is literally a wizard in that book and actually creates his real Browning High Power that uses a striker system. It's awesome. You're a wizard, John Moses. I think this is kind of an interesting way of getting BJ into the future. I mean, it's kind of like Simo. You know, when Simo went to the hospital after getting shot in the face, you know, that's when the Russians started winning. Well, you know, like BJ, he goes in the asylum, and that's how the Germans win, because, well, he wasn't there to stop them. At least it wasn't some kind of time travel thing, which would have been kind of... It could have worked, but this is a better way, I think.
Czekałam na ciebie tak długo. Obudził się. Skąd wiesz? Zaufaj mi, mamo. Po prostu twoja córka ma tajemniczą moc.
If they did cryostasis, you wouldn't have like this human element with Anya. Also, let's be glad this game came out in 2014, because if it had come out in 2018, Anya would not be hot. Now, right here, this actually did happen in real life. It was the T4 program where they would, well, gas anybody that was deemed insufficiently useful to the state. And it wouldn't have been just General Death's Head, it would have been the whole German government. And they weren't turning him into super soldiers, they were literally just getting rid of them because, well, socialism is a hell of a drug and scarcity is a thing.
Wkrótce to wszystko się skończy.
If you ever look up the T4 program, get ready to realize just how horrible humans can be to each other and to their own people too.
Strange sensation. Trapped in my body. I black out. I'm losing time. Sometimes the seasons change in the blink of an eye. I'm having trouble with my thoughts. They dissipate like a scent on the wind. But it's getting better. Here's what I know. I'm in Poland. A hospital. No, an insane asylum. She's the head nurse. That's her father. Shrink. And her mother. Some type of pharmacist. They run the place, I reckon. Sometimes Christmas. Sometimes birthdays. And sometimes Nazis come. They leave with patients in shackles. Like it's Death's Head's personal candy store. The shrink raises hell and all, but in the end he signs. No choice, I suppose. I've seen all this. Good folks made powerless.
That's a powerful line right there.
These people. I'm getting better. Because of her. Her name is Anya. She takes good care of me. She takes care of everyone. She holds this place together. Supposed to be married by now, but hasn't happened.
Now this is another powerful scene right here too.
Ihre Dienste werden nicht länger benötigt. War kein Grund, rührselig zu werden, Doktor. Sie haben zufriedenstellende Arbeit geleistet.
But the sad part is, in real life, they didn't actually have to do this. They would literally lead these people to a gas van where they would gas them with, well, Zyklon B, so. And that was in real life.
Was hier vorgeht, die haben einen Offizier bei der Befehlsausführung
Befehl lautet nicht, die Betreuer zu töten.
Was will der hier? Keine Ahnung. Bringst uns den Keller. Soll der entscheiden? Komm auf!
And see, to me, this is a much more effective scene than, like, that no Russian thing from Modern Warfare 2. See, like, if he was put in, like, cryostasis, this scene couldn't have happened. And I think this is a very important scene right here.
Anya, where'd they take you?
To think we went from this to New Colossus, though.
Joey. Fingers feel numb. Mother of all headaches.
Now, real. Okay. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I think we're back. OBS decided to be annoying. Let's see here. 1 second. Let's... Boom. There we go. And yeah, this does have legitimate stakes to it. it's a beautiful game. I mean, like, they went there without making it political. They're not saying, like, this is before the 2016 election. You know what they would have done had this come out after the 2016 election. You know. Got bored with the opening on the submarine. New Colossus, I felt, had some pretty good gameplay moments, but yeah, it just was bad in every way. Like, it went from, like, this game is serious where it needs to be, funny where it should be, and Colossus goes all in for the seriousness, and then it starts putting that political message, where, for some reason, BJ decides to specifically call out the skin color of the Germans, as if that would matter, but whatever. It was 2017, and, well, the election had just happened, so, yeah. German face. So this is like the evil G3. Now, in 1945, the Germans were working on a rifle somewhat similar to this. And so, in this alternate timeline, they got what is effectively a space G3, which I can approve of, because G3 is a pretty nice rifle, if a bit heavy. But you could really tell that even for a villain, Django loved his son. Yeah, he really did. Man, and Django was an asshole. Like, he straight up killed Zam Wesell, and like Boba looked at like Zam as like a pseudo mother almost. Now, there's a comic series that came out towards the end of oh, go away, phone. I thought I muted you. I did now. But yeah, there's a comic series that came out towards the end of the EU that introduced Boba Fett's half-brother, kind of. It's the son of a clone that tried to escape, that Django straight up murdered. Django murdered this clone, but let the son live, and then Boba Fett has to help him later in the future. It was a really cool comic. What's kind of funny is the clone dude, I forget his name, even tries to get together with Boba Fett's estranged wife. Uh-oh. You're supposed to be able, there's a little cutscene that plays here with Anya getting intimate with the comatose BJ. Oh my. Yeah, you wouldn't be seeing that in a game today. Zam Wesell could be anywhere from around the same age. I found it! I couldn't find this when I recorded the gameplay footage. For the review. For the re-review. Yeah, well. Didn't really matter that much. I never bothered with the Enigma code thing either. But, Zam Wesell could be anywhere from around Django's age to way older because she's a shapeshifter, so I would presume she ages slower than humans. But in the Boba Fett like junior books, there's a whole plot line of them of Zam basically being sort of like Boba Fett's mother equivalent. It was a pretty good little book series too, despite it being, you know, mainly for kids. Because when I think kids, I think Boba Fett, you know. I mean, the most kid-friendly character in all of Star Wars is Boba Fett, you know, like I remember his classic line, "He's no good to me dead." That's a lesson any kid should learn. So yeah, I don't know why there were children novelizations. I guess because Boba Fett was a kid in Attack of the Clones, but it was remarkably good. But Django, despite being a good father to a certain extent, was also kind of like a space marine, like chapter master almost, because part of Boba Fett's training was as bad as space marine training. Like Django dropped Boba literally into a Rancor pit and said like, "All right, you got a jetpack, escape." That like really traumatized Boba Fett too. Like, if you ever wonder why Boba Fett's a hard bastard, it's mainly Django. Django was not nice to a certain extent. To a certain extent. Like, he kind of went above and beyond the whole Mandalorian thing. Let's see here. Last time. Exactly. Still a game of the year even now. Galactic Civil War from Star Wars. This one does. The rest of them, not so much. But yeah, it's just one of those things where Boba Fett started out kind of like as a cool villain, but they really gave him a lot of good adaptation, expansion. Even before Attack of the Clones, they tried to expand on what Boba Fett was. I think initially he was supposed to be like a stormtrooper, and then he was supposed to be a Mandalorian protector. They kind of kept all of those backgrounds, believe it or not. They kind of made it work. But him getting exiled from Mandalore, that got dark. But the final retcon, it got real dark. Usually in Star Wars, in the original EU, they never really talked about sexual assault. And no, Boba Fett did not do that, but his wife got assaulted by like the head Mandalorian protector, and Boba Fett shot him, and that's how he got exiled, because he was like this big wig, and Boba Fett got in trouble for that. That's like the only time that was ever referenced in Star Wars. Because Star Wars never went that dark. But that came out at the end of the EU, so they're able to get away with a little more than they had before. Because Star Wars stayed far away from stuff like that for the longest time. Like, you can blow up somebody's planet, but, yeah, they didn't go that far. Oh, crap. Goddamn drones. It's like real life. So yeah, this game just knew how to actually mix cutscenes with actual gameplay. It's really one of those things that you kind of take this for granted, but give me all health. This is not even that hard of a part, not even that a hard part of the game either. But those little drones are kind of hard to hit. Hey, wait a minute, I got the shotgun. What am I thinking? That actually is an anti-drone tactic in real life, is to use shotties. Who knew sporting clays could be so important? Okay, let's use that double barrel. I've got a grand total of 2 shells. Well, it was a good idea while it lasted. And it worked, and now I'm out of shells. Oh well. Yep, this did not suck at all. This is one of those few modern day incarnations of a franchise that actually, you know, cared about its source material and didn't try to deconstruct everything. This was not the deconstruction of BJ Blazkowicz, that's for sure. Come on, grab the health. I have no idea why the menu keeps coming up. I'm just going to presume that it doesn't like to be streamed. Gundam Wing kind of predicted drones. I've not seen Gundam Wing since the 90s, so I could not tell you. Or maybe not the 90s, I think it was the 2000s. And you gotta love that diesel punk mobile. That thing's gotta weigh like 10 tons. It's like 1 mile, no, no, 1 city, no, whatever. It gets like 1 mile to the gallon. That's the best. That's the best you get at this time. Mobile dolls, though, is such a weird concept. Why do they call it a doll? Stab him! Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Jesteś żołnierzem? Umiesz walczyć? Kim jesteś?
Jestem William J. Blazkowicz, Ranger, Army, USA. I'm sorry, my Polish isn't very good. Finish your drive? Yes, sir. Where are you going? 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 Where are you going
Yeah, BJ, that doesn't exactly help anything. Ooh, so this was like the scene that really got me back in the day. Because normally you never really see the aftermath of, like, the death of some of these characters.
And they grieve for their dead. Such raw sorrow. Can't partake. None would flood oceans.
Yeah, that stuck with me for a long, long time.
It's 1960.
1960.
Yes. You've stayed with us for 14 years. It's 1960.
I have to find a way to contact the U.S. military. I gotta find my unit, let them know I'm alive and ready for duty.
There's no more war.
It's over. No more military.
War ain't over. Look at all these Nazis walking around.
They won.
It's over. The Nazis rule the world now. They are everywhere. Everywhere.
What about the U.S.?
The USA, what's the word? Podacie.
Surrenders.
He surrendered.
Because of Boo.
Atom bomb.
They surrendered 12 years ago when Nazi atom bombed their country.
Yes.
Well, then I'll find the resistance. I'll find them and I'll help them fight.
No, no, no. More resistance. Everyone is captured. If they leave, the Nazis have them. And who can say where they keep them?
Now, this is somewhat similar to a book that's really, really boring called In the Presence of Mine Enemies by Harry Turtledove. I tried to read it. God, that was boring. The characters were about as dull as could be. Not much happened. Like, Harry Turtledove must get paid by the letter. I'm going to complain about this book for a minute before we go cut this guy's head off. Like, in that book, it followed, like, some Germans, right? And literally, almost once per chapter, it talks about how this guy goes and picks up the paper in the morning. Like, good God, just right. Ugh. It was terrible. But anyway, in that book, the Germans were somehow able to take over the world. But, and similar to this game, what they did is they nuked New York in that book and somehow managed to take over the U.S. I'm not really sure how they did it in that book either, but this is very similar to that. And God, that book was boring, though. Just needs splatter protection. I got the health upgrade. I did not know that was there. I do not know why the game likes to keep bringing up the menu. That's a weird glitch. Honestly, I don't think that guy in this situation would actually say that. He's like, he can't be that stupid. What he'd probably really be saying is like, oh, if you work with me, we'll get you out or something. The Man in the High Castle. I've not read the book.
I'm going to ask you one question. You are going to answer that question in a way I find satisfactory, and if you do not, I will saw your head off with this here appliance. You hear me? So here it comes. Where are you people keeping the captured resistance fighters?
Sure. I don't know what you're talking about. There is no resistance.
Zur Hölle mit dir und deinem verdammten Widerstand!
Wiesenwaldpreisen. But you'll never make it there. Checkpoints everywhere. Looking for you. Looking for you on the earth. And soon they will find this place. And then you will be on your knees!
And that is a kick-ass outfit he gets in this game. That is an awesome leather jacket.
Rozumiemy się? Albo ja cię znajdę i zrobię ci krzywdę. Rozumiem. Dobrze. Więc wybieramy się do Berlina.
We ask for your mercy, Lord, as we make the journey across dark waters. Grant us sound feet and silent breath. Refuge from
How do we go from this to New Colossus? How do we go from this to Youngblood? I don't know. They fired all the good writers.
Ihre Papiere.
and safe passage amidst hungry wolves.
Just blow his head clean off.
Take my hand. The road is not safe. You kill the Nazis. Here, I stay with Karl.
Now, if you read a number of the notes, if you read the notes, sounds good to me, but if you read the notes, you find out that Anya there actually was kind of like a serial killer that stabbed a lot of Nazis in the neck. A lot of people in the neck. I think she's actually based upon a real life person, but I can't remember the name. And that is true. They did when he got elected, that's for sure. And yeah, taking over the U.S. is pretty much impossible. You would need a massive amount of sea lift capacity, which the Germans never had. You need a lot of troops. But, you know what? Whatever. You want a story where BJ has to take back the world or not, you know? And I most assuredly do. I want to stab a lot of people in the neck. Just stab them in the neck, you know? We gotta sneak around first so we can get the neck stabbing down right. Man in the High Castle, I mean, I can actually understand Man in the High Castle a bit more since it came out in the 60s, and at that time, people thought that that war was a lot closer run than it really was. So that makes sense. I've not actually read it or seen the show, though. Just never really got around to it. And that book series you're mentioning is, Timeline 191. My God, that book series. Harry Turtledove writes some of the most boring crap imaginable. You know, and I get people love it. I get that people love him. I mean, I liked a couple of his books, but man, they're so long, and it takes forever for anything to actually happen in them. Oh, crap. Whatever. Screw it. I'm just gonna shoot everybody. I didn't even shoot you and you fell down. Because I did not have the silenced Luger, the space Luger. Now I do. So like right here is the best time to actually get spotted, because this is not that hard right here. Drops off in quality. I mean that's Amazon for you. I do not have any faith that the Warhammer TV show is going to be any good. Because they're going to base it on Eisenhorn, and really, if you're going to do a Warhammer TV show, what you should do is do a Warhammer TV show of Space Wolf, because that is a much better intro to 40k. If you've never read 40k, or you don't know anything about 40k, and you don't want to just watch a bunch of nerds list off names you've never heard of before, read Space Wolf. It'll explain everything in an actual narrative. Because Space Wolf follows the coming of age of a guy named Ragnar, and he starts out literally as a Viking barbarian and ends up a space marine, fighting the enemies of the Imperium of Man, but it explains what the Imperium of Man is, what a Space Marine is, what a Tyranid is, all that stuff. All without you having to just read lore for its own sake. It actually incorporates it into a narrative. Sounds like it has a great concept. The books are not fun. They have too many characters, and it takes too long for anything to happen. Henry Cavill threatening to leave, I can imagine. Soviets instead of Nazis. Yeah, I could go for that. There was kind of a Soviet punk game that came out called Singularity. I reviewed that. Where you gotta, like, stop time-traveling Soviets from taking over the world. Although, spoiler alert, they actually win in the end, unfortunately. I mean, Raven Software is a great software company, but unfortunately, I get the feeling that was kind of a mandated thing. It's like, they have to win because socialism good or whatever. Ragnar. And yeah, Ragnar Blackmane. And he's a great character because he actually has a lot of introspection. He's actually a very human character, despite being, you know, well, an 8-foot-tall death machine. And he doesn't necessarily like just slaughtering people and stabbing them with a chainsword. He's one of my favorite 40k characters. Not like in the top 10 or anything, but he's still a good character. For me, my favorite 40k character will always be Caiaphas and his cane. His cane is also a very human character. 40k is not exactly what people say it is. Like, it's not this overblown universe. It can be. But if you read the right books, you can definitely get stories that are much more grounded in reality. Let's pop the old can on there. All being fun. Allergic to making fun stories. Yes. Or BJ joins up with the Soviets to fight kids. Not annoying. Would fight the Soviets. Well, I mean, Wolfenstein doesn't necessarily have to be entirely centered around fighting the Natsoks. You could have the Soviets as a villain, but here's the weird thing, though. You don't really see the Soviets in any of the Wolfenstein games, as far as I know. I think, like, there's one Russian character in this game, and that's it. Like, they don't really come up much. But you could do that. Like, have them go to Vietnam or something, and, like, the Soviets are, like, using, like, you could actually tie the Soviets into the Germans and have them be, like, they're using, like, an ex-German scientist to, like, build a science machine to, like, take over the world. That could work. Sadly, we'll never see that, but... because my Soviet Union is good union, but whatever. Like the scores at Siege of Terra. Yep. In this game, they do lose the war. Ah, crap. I'm just going to keep blaming the chat as I constantly get spotted and fall. Alright, let's just sneak over here and try not to get immediately vaporized. I would not want to try to do a stealth game while streaming, just because, like, I can't focus everything on the game. Okay, give me the goddamn rifle. There we go. No, why can't we have a can for this? You can put a can on a G3. What happened to your CGR review of Descent 1? I do not know. It should still be there, but YouTube has been kind of screwy like that. Let's hear about the guardsman. Yeah, to me, like, Caiaphas Cain, he, his whole cowardice thing is, yeah, he's got a massive amount of survivor's guilt. Because, like, he's still alive, whereas his friends and colleagues aren't. I actually mentioned that in my, Warhammer 40k Reader's Guide that I'm going to put up in the next month, actually. And that is a fact. Ugh. The Soviet Union, a country so stupid, only college kids could like it. It's actually kind of interesting now, since the invasion of Ukraine, that people that I know, I guarantee you, that like a couple years ago would have been singing the Soviet Union's praises, now, because it's popular to be anti-Russian, not saying the Russians are good in this instance, but now that it's popular to be anti-Russian. Now they're actually speaking out against the Soviet Union. But that's, maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I get the feeling that all these YouTubers that are complaining about the Soviets now are just doing it because Russia bad. Alright, let's try to actually pay attention and find that guy. You don't see me. I mean, you see that. And you see that. Actually, I don't think he saw that. Now, where is that guy? Well, let's introduce him to that. And let's introduce this guy to... Now, where is that officer? He's 18 meters, but how much is that in gallons? Oh, it's 1 tablespoon away. Okay. A lot of survivor's guilt. I don't know. I don't see him as a coward though. He runs away in literally 1 short story, and in all the rest he's always there. Maybe not necessarily a coward, but a guy that doesn't want to get killed. Because like in 40K, like your average troop is supposed to want to get killed, whereas he doesn't, you know. I could see that, but I never saw him as a coward. I mean, think about it though. Like, he gets shot down behind enemy lines. It literally builds an army and retakes a whole planet. You know, I'm just saying. 40K is not related to Dune at all. It's kind of, it takes some inspiration from it and some of the names, but it's wholly its own thing. I'm gonna put out a video in July talking about where a good place to start is. If you're new to the universe, just buy the Space Wolves Omnibus. I think it's like $20 on Amazon. Just buy that and it will explain everything you need to know in narrative form. So it's not just people telling you things. Because I've thought about making a 40K lore video, but I don't like info dumps because they get so boring. It's like, without proper context, it's hard to remember everything. Yeah, I guess I could see that, but I think all of us have a little bit of fear in us when it comes to having to face down giant green rage monsters and demons that want to get horizontal. Let's see. Che Guevara in a classmate shirt. Oh god, that guy. Steam Jedi Outcast. Yeah, I'll stream that at some point. What's funny is I got so many games I want to stream that I don't even know how to stream them all in time. I got like this whole list of games I want to get to. Let's see here. Celico. Yep, I know that Celico released, and I got to try to get to that at some point. Oh, yeah. Communism. Yep, never been tried. See, when somebody says something has never been tried, that is a very arrogant statement because it's, well, if I did it, it would be the good. It's like, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, oh, crap. Stab him! Nope, he already spotted me. He spotted me. See, when these college kids, they talk about communism, they always think they're going to be the ones in charge. When in reality, they're going to be the ones sent to the mines. They're going to get sent to the Bitcoin mines. And I don't think they'd be too happy with that. Same way with the greenies. We gotta have environment. I mean, like, obviously pollution's bad, but like, nobody would ever willingly give up their cars or meat or anything like that. And you know no rich person's gonna give that up either. It's just people that want to get popular on the social medias. See Kane and Gaunt meet up. There's a couple fanfics like that. And of course they were never finished. There's a fanfic I read a while back where Kane met up with Rabute Gilliman. It's a pretty good fanfic. I don't remember where I saw it though. think it might have been on Reddit. Maybe. Reddit is a cesspit, but sometimes you can find some really good shit on there. But basically the meetup is where Gilliman's like, you know, you people screwed up my empire, you assholes. And Kane's like, well, where were you? I thought it was pretty good. He actually stood up to... See, that's why, to me, like, Kane does have a lot of balls, because he will stand up to people. He does it. He stands up to demons that want to, like, get horizontal. You know, as we kill you first, because... Yep, exactly. The useful idiots that are purged. See, like, for me, you know, they try to... The way communism is usually presented is like, okay, well, if you're poor, you won't be quite as poor under communism, but that's never the case. You know, the poor get poorer, and the rich, well, they either die or they become, well, politicians, so... You literally nothing has changed. It's like, I'd rather be poor under capitalism where I don't have to worry about getting my head chopped off versus being poor under communism where that kind of happens. One thing that isn't really known that well is that the Nat Sox, they really liked cutting people's heads off. The guy who wrote All Quiet on the Western Front had a sister that lived in Germany during World War II, and the Krauts literally cut her head off. It's like, holy crap. We'll probably get along. Yeah, Yorick's kind of an asshole. I find Gaunt kind of boring, though. I'm going to recommend reading Gaunt's Ghost, but like only the first 5 books, because the books get kind of repetitive and samey. The Kane books do that, too. Like, he's always going into some kind of cave and fighting something. That's why when I do the book recommendations, I'm going to recommend just reading the second Kane omnibus, because each book is a little different. It's not just, you know, Cave Story, 40K edition. One of the cars to kill one of the robots. Oh, I did not know that. And one thing I've not mentioned yet is that the guy who did the soundtrack would later get famous for the Doom soundtrack. This was one of Mick Gordon's earlier works. I think Mick Gordon also did, what was that game? Killer Instinct before this. I think his soundtrack for this game was a little better than Doom 2016's. Just a little. Comments as if they were opposites. And yeah, the Nat Sox and the commies did much the same stuff. It just replaced one word with another. And we all know what word that is. So, yeah. There's some videos on that subject that I do recommend watching. There's a guy named Tick on YouTube who did a whole, like, 4-hour video on why the Germans were socialists. As you can imagine, it got a lot of hate. Oh, crap. But it's a pretty good video. Oh, crap. Can't pull it. Go, Master Chief. Power armor is for pussies. Oh, crap. Give me the armor. Look out, there's plenty of med packs sitting around. Yeah, that's what happened the last time. Couldn't get enough ammo. Check out the new Turok Doom Legacy of Fire Suit. I never even heard of it. I'll have to take a look at that. The train mission. Exactly. The truth. Or the truth. Throw a grenade. Boom. Now, like, if the Germans had a shitload of robots, okay, maybe they might be able to do half of what they thought they could do, but there was a book series called Twilight. Actually, it's still going. In fact, there's a new book that just got released a couple months ago called Twilight of the Gods. It's written by Christopher Nuttall, a Scottish writer. where the Germans won. They were able to take most of Europe, but not the UK or all of the Soviet Union. And the book takes place, I think, like in the 1970s. And so what's happened is they're running out of money because, well, they're socialisms. And so the whole country's about to collapse. And the trilogy of novels is actually about, like, the Germans collapsing. The latest book is actually a prequel. I can't remember the name of it at the moment. Come on, give me all the armor. BJ's literally just strapping armor to himself. Please tell me that's ammo. No, that's not ammo. This is reminding me of 2020 all over again. Okay, there we go. Nope, that's just pistol ammo. Brilliant. I think the series is called Twilight of the Gods by Christopher Nuttall. He does a pretty good job with his characters. He actually can do female characters right, believe it or not. As the female characters are not like Mary Sue's, and they actually do contribute quite a bit. And it's not a political diatribe either. Oh yeah, that rat tank. Yeah, that would have gotten bombed by every plane in Europe. So apparently there is like a night train that goes through the different like European countries. The only reason I know that is I was watching a video where this guy was talking about, yes, whenever I take the night train, every time I go from country to country, my Wi-Fi keeps telling me it keeps changing the language on my web browser, which is why I use NordVPN. I didn't know Primaris Marines didn't have jump packs. Yeah, at a convention last year, see, like, this is a really cool scene, but like, if I was like trying to sneak around, I would not leave that room. So this introduces the modern-day Wolfenstein intense moment.
Sie können den Kaffee auf dem Tisch abstellen. Augenblick mal. Lassen Sie sich mal ansehen. Ja. Sehr schöne arische Züge. Findest du nicht auch, Bobi?
Ja, mir gefallen seine Augen.
Bitte, setzen Sie sich.
This is one of those things. This is not particularly realistic. This is one of the more Tarantino-esque scenes. Considering how Krautland is not very partial to guns, I doubt even an officer of her rank would be allowed to carry a loaded gun on a train and be able to wave it around. I just don't see that happening.
Verstanden? Das ist nur ein Test.
You know, I never noticed that, but yeah, they really do pay attention to eyes. I gotta mention that in the review.
Wenn Sie nach der Waffe greifen sollten, sind Sie tot. Noch bevor Sie...
The funny part is, apparently, they had to add a second safety to the Luger because, like, the German beat cops kept shooting themselves in the foot when they were cleaning their guns. It's like, if they were doing stuff like this, no wonder. We'll go for the eyes. Just eyes. Paraworlds? Turok was an RTS? Oh yeah, what was the name of that mod? I'll have to go through that chat and find that. We'll go for the flower. This literally doesn't matter.
Diesmal wählen Sie das Bild, das Sie am meisten mit Abscheu erfüllt. Ich hätte sagen sollen.
Turok Doom. I gotta write that down.
Also wählen Sie weise.
Oh. I'm trying to write something down. Evil Nazi bitch. Turok
Wenn Sie ein Nicht-Arier
Doom.
hätten Sie zur Waffe gegriffen.
Sie müssen diese Dame
Okay,
schon
there we go.
entschuldigen, aber sie ist sehr stolz darauf, diese Bilderrätsel mit wildfremden Männern zu spielen.
Diese Bilder. Urlaubsfotos, alte Kriegsaufnahmen. Gar nichts.
Now, is she gonna pick those up?
Abgesehen kann ich ein Nicht-Arier mit bloßem Auge erkennen. Du etwa nicht. Lassen Sie ihn gehen, Bernhard.
Ich nehme mal an, eine bildhübsche Frau wird in seinem Abteil.
Now, the Germans were really sexist in that regard, but I think what they tried to say, there actually was like a female equivalent to like the Hitler Youth, so I think that's what she's supposed to be. I think. DC Doom is the Thompson M1A1. That is pretty sexy. If a bit expensive for what it is.
In here.
Why did you leave? Why would you leave? Okay, we're gonna probably have to skip this scene because I'm sure YouTube will wanna. This is the sex scene here. Sorry, Anya, I don't know where I'm supposed to put this down. So I'll have the sexy time with you in a minute. I don't know how to put down the coffee. I don't remember where you're supposed to put this down. You should just be able to put it down right there, but no. Or there? Oh, there we go. You just talk to her.
William?
Yes.
Is that for me?
Yes.
You know there's just one bed.
Oh my.
Yes.
Are you comfortable sharing?
Okay, we gotta skip that. Because if we don't, we'll get demonetized.
Dort haben wir exakt 2 Stunden Aufenthalt, bevor wir in Richtung Zagreb weiterreisen, unserem endgültigen Reiseziel.
I know where to go. A way to get inside Eisenwald prison. There's a hotel. It's on the same street as secret police headquarters.
All I can say is Anya's a bit skinny for my taste, but whatever.
Everybody knows about it. Secret police headquarters is notorious here in Berlin. They bring prisoners inside for questioning. They torture them. And then they drive them back to Eisenwald prison. If they're still alive.
And so, like, the sex scene isn't bad.
There's a prison arriving.
It's one of the better sex scenes I've seen in gaming. Well, actually, I'm gonna comment on that for a moment. The only problem is it's a bit too slow. Like, Anya, she looks like a crazy chick, so she'd be, you know, she'd be going to town on BJ there, and BJ, well, he's basically the size of a refrigerator, so you can probably imagine he's not gonna do some low T thrusting either, so, yeah. Oh yeah, Anya's great, even though she is a bit skinnier.
Down on the roof of that prison transport bus. You hide on that roof and you can ride it all the way into Eisenwald prison. I go down and distract the guard. And maybe he won't see you.
Let's just put it this way, I'd definitely be a tapping that in real life.
This is true of the Nazis. They're not lacking in vanity.
No, not chubby, but women that actually know how to eat food. See, there's a happy medium between like skinny and BB dub, and that's where you want to be. Always be in the happy medium. Okay, so that is based upon the projected Volks Hall that the Germans wanted to. No, I think Addy specifically wanted to create that. As far as I know, as far as I understand, Berlin is actually built on a swamp. Kind of like DC is built on a swamp, isn't it? Wonder why all these capitals are built on swamps, eh? Well, anyway, there's no way that the swampy land of Berlin would be able to actually support a structure of that size. And as far as I know, they built like some pillars to like test if it could actually hold it up. And like the pillars were sinking, like sank out of sight. So yeah, I could see them building that, but it wouldn't last, or it'd be pretty crappy. Oh yeah, Anya is handled very poorly once we move on from this game. And then BJ's daughters, the less said about that, the better. My God, BJ would not tolerate that kind of behavior. He would not sanction that buffoonery. Of that, I can guarantee you. Now, I kind of got distracted, but I was going to mention that at a con last year, there was a guy dressed up as a Primaris Marine. It was awesome, but I don't know how he survived in that suit. I do not know, because it was like, felt like 110 out there. I was melting in my Sith Trooper costume. And his was worse than that.
Battery's low. Needs a recharge.
That's the story of my life. So is Milwaukee. I thought that was like in a more colder climate, because like it's starting to get real hot here. This is going to be a very hot Texas summer, that is for sure. I don't know how people live without air conditioning. Like, one of my good friends lives without air conditioning, and is like, oh, you don't need no air conditioning. I'm like, how? How do you live without it? It makes no sense to me. Oh, there we go. Just keep building till your building no longer sinks. There we go. We can cut through chicken wire, ladies and gentlemen. Truly, the Germans know the greatest of technologies. See what that say? Vapid frat boy? Yeah, pretty much. Someone had a full Gundam. Now that sounds pretty awesome. I've not seen that. Spent the first 23 years without regular AC? How? Unless you live in like a really cold climate, though. Now, for the most of my life, I didn't have an AC unit in the car that worked. I can tell you that was horrible. That was just terrible. This could work as a good entry device. It's better than just bashing it with a battering ram. Now, let's see. Rather have a leader who doesn't have a cult of personality. Yeah, I can second that. I think he's probably gonna still be able to survive politically. But yeah, I'm actually quite fond of that Vivek guy. I think he could do quite well if given a chance. And cult of personalities are never good, because one thing I always mention is like, what happens when Trump dies? Who's gonna replace him? Because he ain't getting any younger. Charge him! Stab him! Stab him in the neck! I'm stealthy. I like how this guy didn't hear that until I literally started walking up to him. Stab him! Stab him! I don't think these guys are gonna get into the Abites, that's for sure. Now let's see. New Jersey. Buy nuclear power from France. OAC is miserable and dangerous. I actually have some family that lives in Arizona, and yeah, it sounds pretty bad. I lived in Utah about 10 years ago for about 5 months, and when the summer came, unfortunately, my AC went out, but it was actually so temperate that I didn't die for the 3 days it took for them to fix it. I kind of would like to go back there one day. I did not know you could do that. Oh, there's the Venus. There's Venus, which I thought was really dumb. How are there enough Germans to police the entire world and the moon and Venus and Mars? It's getting a little much. Austin, Texas. I always liked Austin, but I also know that it's kind of become a horrible cesspit. I've seen some images from there. Used to be it was keep Austin weird, and now Austin is pretty bad. Stab him! Stab him! There's a lot of violence that goes on there. Recently there was a guy who defended himself from an AK-47 wielding maniac, and they found him guilty because reasons, but thankfully the governor actually pardoned him. You know, 5-year stretch where my AC broke on a Friday. Oh my god, I've had that happen here. Yeah, I've had that happen here, and it was terrible. And then not too long ago, like the actual thermostat broke, but it was an easy fix. I just had to get a new faceplate for it. Stab him! He can't call reinforcements if the reinforcements were all dead. The last time the AC went out on a Saturday, I always kind of like associate that. I always kind of associate that with watching the classic movie Firefox for some reason. Yeah, siding with criminals is the stupidest thing imaginable, because it all comes down to that victim hierarchy. If you're a criminal, you gotta be the victim of society or some shit like that. Having some cold weather. Oh yeah, I mean, that's the problem with Texas. Unless you live, like, in the Austin area, you're not gonna have too many mountains. That's what I liked about Utah, is it was a very beautiful state. And yeah, Firefox is pretty boring, I'm not gonna lie. And that ending, he just flies off into the sunset with no real payoff. What's kind of funny, though, is Houston is kind of blue, but not that bad. People here are still fairly sane.
Concrete for miles. I wonder if there's anything in this world worth saving. Desolation. Tyranny. Enemy of endless might. I'm wondering if I have any friends left standing. Comes down to it. I'll fight alone. And I promise you this. Friends, if this is where they're keeping you, I will find you and set you free.
And that's why I love BJ Blazkowicz. That is such a good line, you know? If I gotta fight alone, I will, but if I can find you, I'll save you. That is the kind of hero we need today. IT jobs in Dallas? I do not know. I haven't been to Dallas in over a year, so I couldn't tell you. And I never looked for a job even when I was there. I do know there's a good number of IT jobs in Houston, but Dallas is substantially smaller than Houston, so I don't know. Dirty Harry is one of those things that we need some cool characters like that are a bit rough and tumble but still have a good heart. Sadly, most of the male heroes today are usually just kind of like grinning idiots. I mean, look, for example, at Chris Pratt character. Ugh. For example, look at Chris Pratt's character. There we go, I can speak. In Jurassic World. He's kind of worthless. And he's kind of just this goofy idiot. Just avoid the cities. Pretty much, that's what you gotta do. This is the Fergus timeline. How geologically diverse the state. Yeah, I'd like to visit. North Carolina sounds pretty good. I wouldn't mind visiting that. So, okay. If you play this on a... Or at least when you did play this on an AMD card, maybe they patched this. If you look at that chain, the game crashes. Now, we're running an NVIDIA card, so it didn't. But I don't know why. That chain, it just destroyed it. Enforced out a feminist character. Yeah, I remember that. And she actually had to be a good character, and it wasn't just she was right. She wasn't just right for the sake of it. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to stab this guy in the neck. Let's see here. Going to a hole-in-the-wall diner and trying something called liver mush. So regional, it's not even in the whole state. I don't know, liver mush doesn't sound very good. And stab him in the neck. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get into the prison. Then I'm going to call it a day. It can almost be going 2 hours. I don't know what it is about, like, server farms, but they always have chicken wire in them. Oh, it's a pudding. Okay. Oh, it's off-putting. Okay. You don't see anything. Read the chat. Stab him! Is that your carotid artery? I don't think your carotid artery is in your neck, but whatever. Yep. Yep. Oh, come on. They spotted me that fast. Doug Huggum. I don't think that's actually a full game. You can just play that guy in Serious Sam 3, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, the drop Discord. Okay. Ugh. My brain is tired. I'm mixing my words up again. Just like how I'm gonna mix up his neck! Or not. At least they haven't spotted me yet. Well, it didn't matter. I got my throat chewed out. Bastard. Doug Huggum. For those who don't know what that is, that's sort of a parody of Duke Nukem, where it's supposed to be a family-friendly Duke Nukem. The only game he's in is Serious Sam 3. It's a mod where you can have him be a co-op character. The Springfield Hellion or the Devore... Ooh, that's a hard choice. That is a very hard choice. I kind of want the Hellion, because it's got that Croatian flair about it. Alright, let's continue trying to be sneaky, while also reading the chat. Let's see, if I had like a hidden blade, this would be way easier. Or a hidden gun. And stab in the neck. And let's eat the dog food. It's +4 health. It's a good thing there's chicken wire here, otherwise I wouldn't be able to cut through. Okay, BJ, I think maybe... There we go. Lever action rifles were affordable. If you want a affordable lever action rifle, they do exist. The Rossi 92. It's going to cost you about $600, but it's the cheapest one you can get now. Actually, it's the cheapest one you could get for a long time. And they work. They definitely recommend the 357 Magnum one, because 38 is a nice cheap cartridge. Weather can be weird at times. Yeah, Houston's a lot like that too. It can be winter in the morning, summer in the afternoon. I just tapped him once on the nose and he died. Scored, try next. Yeah, I can't actually just leave a link up all the time. It's because if I do, there's a chance I could get hacked again, and that was not a good evening, I can tell you that. Okay, now I'm out of random battery juice. Yeah, those Marlins are remarkably expensive. Like $1,000. It's ridiculous. You know what? Screw it. Okay, that was not a good idea. Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to at least get in the prison. Oh. Yeah. Okay, we're actually gonna try here. See, since I don't have a pistol or a rifle or... Alright, we'll stab in the neck. This isn't even particularly hard, it's just been going for 2 hours. Okay, cut the chain. What's a marlin? Is it a fish? No, it's a firearms manufacturer. They're bought by Remington. Then Remington went out of business, then bought by Ruger, and Ruger brought them back. They were the primary competitor back in the 1800s with Winchester. The Marlin 336 went head-to-head with the Winchester 94 for like 80 years. Having shot both, the Marlin 336 might actually be a little better because it's side ejecting instead of top ejecting, so it's easier to put a scope on it. Now what's really kind of painful is back in like the early 90s, you could get a Marlin 336 at Walmart, no less, for $70. I know with inflation it's a lot more, but like still $70 ain't bad. Remington 870 or a Mossberg 590. That's a hard choice. Both are good. Both have their strengths and weaknesses. I would recommend the Mossberg for one reason. It's easier to load shells. It doesn't have that dust cover. Let's see. He's gonna bank her like a bunch of times. They pretty much are. It's kind of like with Colt. Yeah, top ejecting can be kind of a problem because it loves to launch empty cases everywhere. Local hardware store in the 80s for $70. Yeah, Maverick 88s are really cheap. Like you can get a 8-shell Maverick for like $300, which is cheaper than just about anything else. No, I'm out of energy yet again. Okay, let's just try to... I like how it spots me immediately. How am I even supposed to see it? Screw it. I'm being stealthy. I'm really stealthy. James Bond has nothing on me. But is James Bond actually that stealthy? I don't know. Always refer to him as clown shoes. Trader company, they shut down Bushmaster. Yeah, Colt was also... God damn it. Alright. Colt was also kind of dickish like that. Ugh. How they changed their AR to be more civilian friendly. Alright, I think I'm too tired to beat this level for right now. I might come back to this game in the future. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm General Lotz. I hope everyone enjoyed today's stream of Wolfenstein: The New Order. It's crazy to think that game is 10 years old now, and it's still really awesome. And so, I'm General Lotz wishing you good, Marlin, good Winchester, whatever makes you happy.